Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Awkward Aquarians Review.
I do have to mention, if there's any like noise in the background too, it's my family's watching the football games. So there might be like a damn rap sort of thing.
Awesome. Yeah. It'll be like they're cheering on our review.
Yeah, oh my gosh, if it's at like a good part, I'm taking it as it's for us. Like, so good. But right now we are doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 1, episode 11. Out of mind, out of sight. So I think I liked this episode. I remember liking this episode. Wasn't one of my all-time favorites, but I liked it. So do you remember liking it?
I don't remember this episode. I'm waiting for you to do the recap so I can remember.
I got a little distracted because with the cheering, it's also my giant dog out there barking her head off. So it's like, there's so much noise. Okay, but getting into it, I think it like begins. I don't know if it begins, but this is like my first recollection of where it begins, where there's like a student in the a male student in the locker room changing, and he hears kind of like laughing, and he doesn't know where it's coming from. It's because it's like a high, like it's like a girl's laughter, like ha 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 ha, and then all of a sudden a bat appears out of thin air, and he gets beaten with the bat. So
very supernatural intro.
Very supernatural
blood
intro.
Splatter.
And I kind of like that because I love the supernatural intros.
Me too. I
loved it.
Creepy, and then death, and then you go to the boys, or in this case, Buffy and the gang.
Yeah. And the guy was actually like Cordelia's date to this big dance. I think it's Homecoming. I think is what it was. I'm not sure, but it's Cordelia's date. So that's important to know because it turns out everything's like revolves around Cordelia for this episode. And it's kind of funny because Buffy finds a way to get into the locker to like investigate, but she gets in there by Willow and Xander distracting Snyder, and it was such a cute little part of like Willow and Xander like playing their part and doing what they do best, which is kind of like backing up the hero in the best way. Like they're this kind of awesome little sidekicks, and I loved it. I love seeing them actually in action together. But then we kind of find out that we don't find out anything, but then Cordelia is talking to what's the name of Harmony? She's in a few episodes. I like Harmony.
I like Harmony too. I especially like it when she's a vampire.
I know. I think she's a great vampire.
Me too.
She's a vampire. So she makes me laugh. But she's, Cordelia's best friend as of now, and Cordelia and her are talking at the top of the stairs, and all of a sudden Harmony gets pushed down the stairs by some invisible force, and she rolls down the stairs and like damages her ankle, and Snyder runs up and he's like, "Don't sue." So then you kind of find out that everything is revolving around Cordelia. And also a teacher who is really nice to Cordelia and kind of lets her get away with a few things. I don't know about get away, but like she's like the teacher's pet. Cordelia walks in when that teacher's being suffocated by a plastic bag, something invisible holding a plastic bag over her face. And that's when they figure out, okay, it's after Cordelia. What's ever going on, it's because of Cordelia. And Cordelia figures it out too. She sort of runs into the library and talks to the Scooby Gang, and is her just kind of mean, charming self. Where if she thinks it, she says it, and she's just like, this is about me. And it is And in the meantime, Buffy has figured out it's an invisible girl named Marcy, because I guess Buffy had heard like a flute playing at one point when she was out investigating what's going on. So she sort of heard this flute, and she felt like she was pushed by someone or something. So that's when she figures out it's probably someone invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes and finds out where Marcy has been sleeping, which is at the school. And I found that a little weird.
Ceiling, right?
In the ceiling of the school. She built like a bed and had all this.
like a kind of like a Boxcar Kids, but kind of creepy.
Yeah. And because I was thinking, why aren't you just sleeping at your house? You know, I don't know what the parental situation is here, but I would just, I mean,
good.
no, it's not good. And you would think that you could, I don't know, like tell your parents you're invisible, you know, like I've gone invisible from being ignored. Although if she went invisible from being ignored, maybe she was ignored by her parents too. In which case, we might not even notice that she is sleeping at home. So just sleep at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever the reason.
I mean, as an introvert, my bedroom is my sanctuary. So the thought of giving that up to sleep in a
ceiling,
ceiling. Like, no. If your house is too noisy, just wear your noise canceling headphones, drown everything out, and just be in your nice cozy bed.
Yeah, I know. It just seemed like a poor decision, but it's her decision, so who am I to judge? But in her little makeshift bedroom, she had a yearbook, and in the yearbook she like scratched out Cordelia's pictures and everything. So,
I now remember this episode.
Now you remember it?
Yeah.
And also to note is a few times in this episode, like sprinkled throughout, you see these basically like men in black looking people just standing off into the distance watching.
Who we never see again, by the way.
Never see them until the end of the episode. We do see them at the end of the episode.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like after this episode, never again.
Yeah. No, after this episode, you never see them again. And what an awesome spin-off that would have been, you know?
Well, and they're basically running an X-Men school.
With the government.
And yeah, and they never bring that up again in all of Buffy universe. Which is
it's so
which is a waste, because it's really cool idea.
Wasted opportunity, because they could have. Right now, they only said they were going after invisible people, because I guess training them like CIA spies, or I don't know. But you think they could be going after any and everything, you know? Like, if you're with the government, you could be going after all sorts of creatures and things, which they have to know about, I would think. But
and it's such a fun idea, like total spinoff.
Yeah, exactly, like total spinoff. But yeah, so they figured out it's Cordelia. Cordelia figures it out it's her too, and Buffy and Cordelia. Buffy's kind of set up as Cordelia's bodyguard, like she has to like bodyguard watch her, which I think is it's cute and it's funny. And we get this one scene where they're talking, and Buffy says something to the effect of like, "Oh yeah, it's so hard to be you," and then Cordelia, you get a little insight into Cordelia because she says, you know, hey, I kind of like I have feelings too, or even though I'm popular and I have so many people around me, that she still feels lonely. You know, she gets lonely and can't really be herself. So
yeah, and I love those little insights into Cordelia, because it makes her so much more dynamic instead of just being like, oh, she's this jock cheerleader, you know.
Yeah,
they give another layer to her, which they explore in later seasons, which is nice.
Well, that's one of the reasons I really do love Cordelia. Like, I think she has the most growth of any character in the show. You know, she starts out as one thing, and even though she retains who she is, she's still her. She evolves and becomes more, you know, has a lot more depth, a lot more caring, and I love that. So I'm a big Cordelia fan. I adore her.
Yeah, and she really evolves an Angel to be like a hero, so it's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
and Angel
crazy.
is fantastic until they completely like kamikaze her character.
Yeah.
Yeah, until they do what shall not be named to her character. Like, ugh.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, no, an Angel, yeah, she was great. So we get that little sort of insight into her. And oh, also in this episode, Angel comes back. Like,
Oh, Earth Angel, won't you be mine?
my darling dear, love you
Love
all
you all
the
the
time.
time.
Yeah, so he's back, and the first scene we get him is with him and Giles, and that's kind of cool too because we don't really, I don't know that we've ever seen him interact with Giles, up until this point.
Mhm.
So that was really cool, and he kind of not sneaks up on Giles, but Giles doesn't see him in the reflection, like he's looking at a window or something. So Giles turns and Angel's there, and Giles was like, "Oh!" and Angel kind of says he hasn't been around because it's too hard to be around Buffy. And Giles points out, he's like, "Oh, vampire in love with a slayer. How romantic it is, but also how like morbid and sad it is." And Giles points that out, and I just think it's a really good scene of Giles understanding the situation. Like he gets it. Like Giles gets a lot, you know
Mhm.
even though they make him seem sort of out of it with to the teenage stuff, like he doesn't know what's going on, he gets stuff. And
Mhm.
so they talk a little, and Giles tells Angel that they think this Marcy girl, went invisible because she was ignored so much. And Giles is saying like, "Oh, it might be a awesome talent or gift to have to be invisible and not be seen." And Angel, who has no reflection, is basically saying like, it's an overrated gift. It's not that big of a gift. Um, so I really, really like that interaction between Angel and Giles. One, because we haven't gotten any, and they
Mhm.
seem like the most mature members of the Scooby Gang. So it's nice to see them together. Um, And then Marcy wreaks havoc. She kidnaps Cordelia. Cordelia goes into this closet to change into her homecoming dress. And again, I was thinking, Buffy, just go in with her. Why are you not going in with her?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
just it's you changed with Xander in your bedroom. You can go in with Cordelia into a little like side closet and help her change. Um, but she doesn't, and Cordelia is absconded by Marcy, just like lifted out of the ceiling. Um, and Buffy goes after her. She does this awesome just jump up into the ceiling and goes after her. But then Buffy she falls to the ceiling, and Marcy's able to inject some sort of something in her. I don't even know where Marcy got this or how she knows what it is or does, but she injects Buffy with something that knocks Buffy out. And the next thing you know, they both wake up, and I think they're in the Bronze, and they're like tied to chairs. So,
Such a horrific scene. Like
mhm.
you feel bad for the invisible girl until this scene, then you're like, oh, she is
Until
just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
which is what Buffy said too. She's like, I felt sorry for you. She's like, but no, you're just cuckoo. Like you've gone insane and
Yeah.
evil insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, and her grand plan is to disfigure Cordelia, not even kill her,
I
disfigure her.
know, which is just so gross and
It's so
creepy and
evil.
crazy.
Yeah, I think it's more evil than just killing someone. She wants to like
Mhm.
cut off her nose and cut off her like lips and ears and all this stuff, and it's
Ooh. Hannibal.
very creepy. Um, and in the meantime, while that's happening, Marcy has also trapped Giles, Willow, and Xander in the boiler room. I think it's the boiler room. I don't really know. It's basement boiler room. I'm from Arizona, so we don't really have any of those things. So, traps them there by playing music on a like recorded music on a stereo, and they follow it, and then she locks them in there, and the gas is turned on, and she's made it so they can't turn it off. So they're in there just suffocating. They're just they can't get out, and they
Yeah,
can't
again, all empathy for this girl gone.
run. She's gonna kill innocent people, like all she did, and really innocent, like even well, I mean, she could have killed Harmony, honestly, like throwing her down the stairs. So this girl has lost all sense of right and wrong, being invisible, like it's taken it away. But yeah, so they can't even break out because they can't, if you get a spark, they say everything's gonna blow. So they're in there and they're all just like passed out or almost passed out or to that point. And then Angel saves the day. He comes in, he opens the door, he picks up Willow, he brings her out, he goes in
That's
because
our
he doesn't.
boy.
That is our boy, charging in like a hero. Goes in, turns off the gas, and so saves the day, saves all of them, saves the day. Meanwhile, Buffy is fighting Marcy, and I really like this fight scene because Marcy's invisible, so Buffy's fighting this invisible foe, and even though Marcy's a human, it's still, she's still invisible. So it's kind of this really cool shot where Buffy she tells Cordelia to shut up because Cordelia is crying and screaming, and Cordelia shuts up, so she just sort of like sits there and listens and lets the wind blow around her and listens for Marcy or any type of movement, and then she hears it, and then she punches Marcy, throws this blanket or curtain over her, and then punches her again, and it's lights out for Marcy. And then that's when the men in black show up and basically drag Marcy away, and it's kind of a strange interaction because they're like, basically like, thank you, and then Buffy guesses who they are, and she's like, you've done this before, haven't you? How many kids out there have you taken? How many kids have gone invisible? And they're just like, thank you for your time or something. So, and then you see that it's a bunch of kids they've taken. You can see this room with a bunch of like books being turned by themselves and chairs being pulled out. So it's a bunch. Again,
yeah, which is, I always thought like, oh cool, they're gonna do something with this, like this invisible army or something crazy.
Yeah.
We never see the men in black again. We never see the invisible kids. Like,
I know, I think it would have been really kind of interesting especially if the men in black know who Buffy is and maybe like help her out every once in a while or something, or I don't know, like something. I think it could have been something.
Yeah, a cool thread through.
It wasn't. And then in the end too, it disappointed me because they didn't tell Buffy that it was Angel who helped them out.
I know. Like, hey, your boyfriend saved us.
Just saved the day. Led the cavalry, which is just him. Came in, saved the day. Yeah, they don't even.
We all would have been dead.
I think it was Willow who was going to tell her. She's like starting to, and then either Xander or Giles cut her off or something. And I was a little livid. I'm like, no. She needs to know that her honeyboo was there, saving her nearest and dearest.
Like, by the way, Angel saved all of our lives.
Yeah. Hello, Xander. Maybe remember this for the future.
Maybe remember that you would be dead if it wasn't for him.
Yeah. Not even brought back as a vampire, some other creature, dead. Gas.
That crazy Invisigirl. So.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I didn't like that. But other than that, I did like this episode. I did.
Yeah. I did not like. I think I liked it until she was gonna like disfigure Cordy, and then I was like, ooh, like it got too dark for me. I was like, this is really gross. And so I think for me, I would do 3 bloody spikes again because this is not an episode I would rewatch. I think it only gets 3 because Angel was in it, so it gets extra spikes. But they made that torture thing with Cordelia so creepy and gross that I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah. For me, I liked it. I actually liked I liked that she was going to disfigure Cordelia. I mean, I'm glad it didn't happen, but I'm glad I like that they like made her that sort of twisted. It's not just it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna kill you because you made my life miserable. It's like, no, you made my life miserable for these reasons, and she's gone so mad from being invisible that this is what she's gonna do. So I kind of like that they made her that twisted. And I like that. I like that Buffy and Cordelia were tied up together, and had to kind of work, even though it wasn't working together because Cordelia was tied up and couldn't do much. They were still, you know, I like that they were together, and I like the Buffy Cordelia time. So getting to know each other a little more as just enemies. Because actually, at the very end, Cordelia comes up and she was being very kind and was thanking them, like, you know, Buffy, all of them, Buffy, Willow, Xander, was thanking all of them for saving her life. Like, she recognized she's only alive because of Buffy. And there's this kind of soft moment, and then Buffy starts saying, like, oh, well, you know, if we're gonna like do lunch or something, if you want to sit with us. And then Cordelia's boyfriend and a few other kids walk up, and they're like, well, you're not talking to these losers, are you? And that's when Cordelia kind of reverts back. She's like, no, you crazy? Like, I would never, you know? So it's like a first step in Cordelia starting to be the Cordelia that we really know and love. Like, and I liked seeing that. And I liked the Angel scenes. I was just so happy to get him back because I was so worried that he was gone. Like, they've gotten rid of him. He's gone forever. But he was back. So I'll probably give this episode like 5.5 stinks.
That's good. That's a good amount of stakes. 5 from you, 3 from me.
8 total. 5.5. I'll do 5.5 because it doesn't quite reach 6, but I would definitely watch it again. It's on my rewatch. So yeah, 5.5.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you guys next time when we review. Do you know what the name of the next episode is?
Prophecy Girl.
Prophecy Girl.
The final episode of season 1. I know. Very exciting.
Coming to the end.
And I love that episode, so very exciting. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
We'll see you then.